To do what? Look, we can say whatever we want about his on-field performance, right? When you weigh his success against his failures, the highs and the lows, one thing is certain, this kid has a relentless drive and truly believes he can be great. Now, he has to prove it on the field, obviously. He seems to be putting in the work this offseason. From my editor's desk, there is zero doubt about his effort. None at all. I would take that work ethic over Anthony Richardson any day of the week, regardless of the raw stat. I would still make that call. You know what I am waiting for? Taylen Green to stun everyone. And here I thought you were just craving a donut. Well, it is National Donut Day, but seriously, I want to see Taylen Green shock the league. Otherwise, I want Shedeur to prove he is the top quarterback, even though Taylen Green is currently buried deep. True, but the kid is 6'6" and runs like an absolute beast. It feels like Green is getting the Shedeur treatment this season. Perhaps, and that is fine. Cleveland's veterans are actively shielding Shedeur Sanders from the media, and the national press is absolutely furious. This is not a vibe. It is a coordinated, deliberate, and highly organized campaign inside that locker room to control access and redirect reporters, shutting down controversial inquiries before a single loaded question can even reach their rookie quarterback. But here is the detail the mainstream media is hiding. This was no accident. This is not just some organic team chemistry creating a cozy, protective environment. These veterans watched the media try to tear down Shedeur Sanders from the combine to draft night, and they made a conscious decision that this nonsense stops inside their facility. A very specific trigger caused this, an aggressive, targeted campaign that forced team leaders to take defensive action, establishing a brand new precedent in the league. Yet, no one in the media is openly discussing that trigger. Once we unpack what it was, this response looks less like loyalty and more like absolute necessity. We will analyze that shortly, but first, let us examine exactly what the media machine attempted. The narrative around Sanders did not start at the draft. It began when his first-round status solidified, following a predictable media playbook. Take a confident, young black quarterback, add a legendary father, a personal brand, and strong self-worth, then twist those assets into massive liabilities. His confidence was labeled arrogance. His business acumen was spun as entitlement. His bond with his father became a crutch, and his style a distraction. None of this was random, and Cleveland's locker room saw the play. Now, here is the fascinating twist. The negative press around his draft slide was one of the most aggressive character assassinations of any prospect in modern history. Endless reports relying on anonymous sources, vague character concerns completely lacking any actual evidence. It was a game of implication, never accusing him directly, but planting enough doubt to taint his image. A coordinated push to rebrand an elite talent as a risk. It worked, impacting his draft slot and public perception. That blatant agenda is what triggered Cleveland's veterans, not just standard critical football reporting. Tough press is normal in the NFL. They stepped in because they recognized a bad faith smear campaign, and their defense, we will break that down shortly. The actual mechanics of this media shield are far more sophisticated than a simple locker room brotherhood cliche. Before we go there, we must analyze a layer of this story that transcends Cleveland. Look at how other franchises across the league are monitoring this situation in the Browns facility. Specifically, teams holding their own elite young signal callers who survived identical media meat grinders. That context is vital, and it drives our final analysis today. Make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. He is fully integrated into that locker room, constantly engaging with his teammates and building real connections. Ultimately, the pre-draft character concerns about Shedeur were completely false. Hit like if you agree, and we will see you next time. Critics were just trying to tear down his reputation, and that is not who he is. Other quarterbacks do not act like that. He is different, and that is exactly why I will always stand up for him. It is just not fair that he gets hit with this negative reputation when that is not who he is. The kid has great character, and I cannot wait to see his future. Hit that subscribe button, and let us break down how this veteran shield actually works. First up is access control, and it works exactly how it sounds. Cleveland's veterans have built a very real, quiet protocol around how reporters interview Shedeur Sanders inside the facility. Experienced players literally stand right where reporters gather. If a reporter throws a loaded question at Shedeur instead of asking about actual football play, the type of trap designed to grab a quick soundbite and spark a massive national controversy, a teammate steps in. Without being aggressive or creating a brand new headline, quietly redirecting, taking the hit themselves, and steering the focus right back to the game. It is smooth. Now, Let us look closer at what most NFL fans are completely missing here. To make this work, the leaders in that Cleveland locker room had to make a major decision. They had to look at Shedeur Sanders and decide that shielding him was worth their own reputation. Veteran players do not stand between a rookie quarterback and the press unless they truly believe in his talent. This is not charity. This is investment. These guys have been in the league long enough to know the difference between a high-maintenance rookie and a franchise quarterback worth protecting. They chose to protect him, and that tells you everything. But there is another layer to this story that goes way beyond press conferences. This directly impacts Shedeur's on-field game, and we are already seeing it on the practice tape. The exact same players shielding him from reporters are running a private preparation program behind closed doors. Call it media training, call it mentorship, call it whatever you want. But the reality is veterans are teaching Shedeur exactly how the sports media will try to bait him, showing him the traps, pointing out the red flags, and teaching him how to survive a tough press conference, but how to spot a setup early, answer without giving away cheap headline material, and control the entire room without sounding defensive. This is not your basic rookie orientation. This is a veteran core protecting their young quarterback's mental space like a team asset. That perspective is huge because it means Shedeur's poise under intense pressure is no longer just a personal trait. His teammates have invested in it, and the entire Browns organization now has a massive stake in protecting it. Just think about what that does for a young passer's confidence. He does not just know his teammates trust him on the field, but he knows the most respected locker room leaders have looked at the outside noise and decided to shield him from it entirely, proving their belief in him is way louder than any garbage a sports talk show host can cook up. That kind of locker room is incredibly rare. Historically, young quarterbacks who get this level of protection and support during the most vulnerable period of their early NFL development play at a much higher level in their first 2 years compared to guys who had to fight the media alone. Now, look at the historical context that changes everything. Cleveland's relationship with its local sports media has been broken for years. Honestly, for decades. This is a fan base and a press pool that has suffered enough heartbreak to make doubt a second nature. The local reporters always search for the problem, trying to find any crack in the armor, wanting to be the one who predicted the collapse first. That is the toxic environment Shedeur Sanders walked into. The fact that the veteran leadership recognized this threat, knowing that the tough local press combined with the national media circus would destroy a rookie, and built a unified front is completely unprecedented for this franchise. These are not the Browns of 5 years ago. Locker room culture has shifted in a massive way, and the catalyst for that shift is a 22-year-old quarterback who earned the respect of his locker room before he ever took a regular season snap. Let's be real. The biggest story in Cleveland isn't the quarterback competition, the rebuilt offensive line, or all that accumulated draft capital. No, it is the fact that for the first time in a generation, this franchise finally believes in something, and that belief is centered on Shedeur Sanders. Now, that belief is being fiercely defended, and a sports media machine that spent months trying to write his narrative before he took a snap is hitting a wall it never saw coming. Believe me, other NFL franchises are studying this blueprint. Front offices with young quarterbacks who have watched talent get chewed up and spat out by the media cycle are looking at Cleveland right now and asking how they built this. The answer is surprisingly simple. It begins with veteran leaders who decided that protecting their young signal caller is part of their job description, and it truly ignites when that quarterback shows everyone on a daily basis that he is worth fighting for. That chemistry is incredibly rare, and it might just separate this new era from all the failed seasons of the past. As an editor, my prediction for midseason is simple. Those media-driven character concerns about Shedeur Sanders will be completely dead. Not because reporters drop it willingly, but because his on-field performance will make those doubts impossible to sustain. And the locker room veterans who built that wall around him will deserve more credit for that success than national analysts will ever admit. If you want to watch this story unfold step by step, hit that subscribe button and stay locked into Gridiron Insights. Let us know in the comments. Do you think the media campaign against Shedeur Sanders was totally coordinated? Or is this just how the press handles every high-profile rookie? Let us know. And welcome to Gridiron Insights. We will catch you in the next video.